even though it's crazy cold outside, they are snaked around the building right now, and the buses are still frosted over out back, because in a couple hours, Skillet is going to be taking the stage here at Electric Factory. John and Korey, nice enough to join us. Hello.
What's up? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
What's going on? Good to see you, too.
Good. So, it's cold outside, and you guys have decided to start a tour now. It's a great idea.
Yep. Cold doesn't bother us. I'm so happy we're getting to come to cities we hardly ever come to on both coasts. So I was like, last night we were in that legendary snowstorm up in Maine,
right.
And the fans still came. We got here safely. It was a little crazy, but the worst is done, and now it's just cold.
You guys, it's been 20 years of Skillet. Can you believe? I'm sorry if that makes you feel any kind of way, but 20.
Just tired.
Just tired. We've been doing this so long. No, but 20 years in the game, and they're still lining up around the block. That's got to feel pretty cool.
That feels great. Our fans are so dedicated and awesome, and you just love that your music resonates with people.
Yeah.
Because that's why you do it.
The thing about Skillet is you guys quietly are kind of one of the biggest rock bands in the world, and I don't think enough people pay attention to that. I mean, there's other people that get giant headlines, but you guys sell a ton of records and right. Sell out a bunch of shows. Are you happy with that? With that, we'll just kind of go at our own pace and do our own thing and take your dollars and play rock band shows for you.
Take your dollars, fistful of dollars.
You know what I mean? Though, like it's kind of flown under the radar, like how big Skillet has been for the past 20 years.
I usually tell people that Skillet is the biggest selling band you've never heard of.
Totally.
That's what I tell people because we're not a name, a household name. I think any way that you can keep in the business and longevity, you have to be thankful for, whether
right.
that's a huge success, moderate, whatever. So absolutely, we're thrilled to be doing it this long. We're lucky. But of course, you're never satisfied. You always want
right.
to climb to the next peak, and for us, I do think it is getting. It's funny this I'm still saying this, but it is happening. We're getting our name out to new people.
Right.
People think we're a brand new band sometimes,
Yeah.
or we go on tour with Korn or somebody, and people are like, "I've never heard of you guys."
Right.
And I think, "How have you never heard of us? We've
That's
been around."
Crazy to me.
It is. So we're lucky, but we're satisfied, but not satisfied.
Okay. What's the thing that's changed the most in 20 years of doing it for you? Like going out and playing these shows, what's the biggest difference then? I mean, you guys were barely old enough to drink when everything first started, and now here you are. What's the thing that's changed the most over that period of time?
Probably we have kids now, so kids on the road sort of changes the dynamic of everything. It was already kind of a family atmosphere for us. For rock bands, and then I think with the addition of the kids, it's like, okay, it keeps your perspective like this isn't about you and this isn't about anything small. This is about keeping the important things important.
Sure, and the kids are always along on tour and a part of everything now.
Yeah, I don't know if our kids know how awesome their parents are.
Right.
But we're working on that.
How old are the kids?
14 and 11.
Okay, so they have to know by now, right?
I mean, it's just, it's a different world than it used to. I'm putting myself as a 14-year-old.
Right.
Had my parents played shows with Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and Motley Crue, my life would have been different.
Right.
So I'm not sure if my kids know how cool it is that they've seen Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper and Manson, but it is a great privilege to have our family out. It kind of keeps you grounded.
Sure.
Because a lot of rock stars, I mean, there's a lot of things that can take your attention away. And a lot of people that want to do this for a long time, they usually end up getting their heads straight after some point, and it becomes about the music, and it becomes about the business and running this thing well, and the fans after they burn out. And so luckily, we haven't had those kind of, you know what I'm getting at, don't
totally.
you? Yeah. So for us, it's been very grounded, very much like there are real things in life that are more important than rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Your marriage, your kids, your family. And it's helped remember, and I think it's actually made the music better because the music is, I think for us, more authentic.
Yeah.
And we care about what we're saying, and we treat the fans really well, and our heads are just on straight.
And nothing's distracting from anything else when they're all in the same room, right? It's not like, hey, we're not paying attention to this because we're doing this. It's like when everyone's doing the same thing and you guys are all on Team Skillet, like that makes it a little bit easier, I would imagine.
It's all hands on deck,
Yeah.
Like today, my daughter did a she modeled for one of our T-shirts.
Okay.
Posted it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Very
it's
cool.
Kind of like, hey, everybody's.
I am fascinated by that dynamic too of, being at an age. So I'm 33, and I am starting to have those thoughts where I go, man, I want to have kids so that I'm still cool when they're like old enough to remember. So I think that's awesome that you have teenagers now that are like can see mom and dad are cool and got to experience
they help
that.
Keep us cool because
Right.
you can lose touch with what's cool.
How much do you think now after 20 years of Skillet? How centralized is faith still to the music that you guys put together? I've talked to a couple different bands that get branded, especially rock bands, when they get branded as Christian rock, that's something that comes out and like some tend to shy away from it, some lean into it. Where is it as far as where you guys are?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. For us, I've always been really proud of my Christian music roots, if you will. Christian music was very impactful for me growing up, but I never knew I had to kind of choose one or the other.
Yeah.
And it kind of became clear to me years down the road after we were known as a Christian band that it was kind of like you're either a Christian band or you're a rock band. I always thought, well, I think I can do both. What's the big deal?
Right.
So I've always liked writing songs about my faith. I still love that. It's still very important to me. I do lots of interviews with Christian radio or Christian press of some sort because I do love I love the people, and there's a lot of these kids that would not be allowed to maybe come to Electric Factory and see us playing with Sick Puppies, or we were here with Stone Sour a few years ago.
Right.
Maybe these kids, their parents wouldn't let them come to something like this, but they will let them go to a different type of event. So I really love that. But I always like to make it really clear, I know it was a long answer, but I never wanted to play to just Christian people.
Totally.
And I didn't, once I kind of realized that might be happening, I tried very hard to get out into the rock world because that's not what, for me, Christian music should be.
That is interesting, that idea of it being more of a safe space for rock and roll, that you guys have that label. I've never thought of that before, that some parents might go, well, because of this is what's important to them, then that's probably a safer place for them to be.
It is, already I wouldn't let my kids go see Beyonce, or something like that. It's just too much for them at my son, 11 years old, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really comfortable with that, My kids tour with a lot of bands that I probably would not let them see at this point in their lives, but when they're older, they can make their own decisions, But I think it's a really valid thing that a lot of the reason we have so many young fans is because their parents feel okay with them listening to it. And I don't mean just religious parents, but some parents are kind of like, hey, I'm not really comfortable. I'm a huge Five Finger Death Punch fan. Right. Not a lot of young kids at Five Finger Death Punch shows, even though I think a lot of kids would like the music if they heard it. So that's just my personal opinion.
That's
for whatever
interesting.
That's worth.
That's an interesting phenomenon. I have to tell you, on this couch, I feel very safe. So
feel safe.
Everything works out. Tonight at Electric Factory, it is Skillet. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
awesome,
great
man.
chatting with you.
You too. Cool. Thank you.